Hello and welcome to today's video where we're going to pour one out for the 6 teams that are not moving on from the play-in stage. We're going to go over just my thoughts on the teams. You can comment down below with your opinions on how these teams performed. And yeah, so there's definitely a wide range of ways to look at this. Just these 6 teams, right? We have some teams that actually outperformed expectations, and then teams that just looked as bad as we thought they would. First and foremost, Team Wales, PSG losing yesterday. I said it a bit in my video I just recorded and uploaded, so this is being recorded yesterday for you that are viewing it on Monday. It's unfortunate that Wales and PSG were not able to have an opportunity to lose, where GAM and BDS had the opportunity to lose. I think that is not right, and that is why the formats, I'm not a fan of double elim formats because they do not provide a reset for winner finalists. So they got kind of screwed. Wales didn't really show up against GAM, but there are a lot of things to draw from Wales. With Glory and Artemis, they showcased a lot of talent in this tournament, put their names on the map. BA stood his ground for the majority of it, in my opinion. Bean J showed a little bit more than he did with Saigon Buffalo, but still at the same time, I feel like he's the same player. Sparta, I mean, this was his first event. He was not super strong in the VCS, at least the stats didn't indicate that. So his performance here, I mean, he looked like he needs some more development. But as far as I'm concerned, Glory and Artemis were 2 players that, I mean, I wouldn't be shocked to see Glory in a major region next year. I think that, I don't know if his contract is long-term. I don't know if not even an LPL team. If I'm an LCS team, I'm looking at Glory, only because I think he's very talented. And it's unfortunate that we're not going to get to see him against major region players outside of his series against Nuke, which he did win. I'd like to see him against better players and see where he stacks up. So, Team Wales, I mean, it's definitely, I mean, they overperformed. Going into this event, they were pretty low. But, they certainly put on a good performance. PSG Talent, I would say this is a disappointment. I really expected them to move on. The majority of predictions had PSG going to the main event, and they came very close. In my opinion, they should have won Game 3. They lost that one. And in Game 5, they also had an opportunity to win multiple times and blew it. That was a close game, but that doesn't mean they didn't have an opportunity to win. It was coin flip situations. And if that is Maple's last series on the international stage, I thought he performed outstanding throughout this event, and especially in that individual series. I thought he was the best player between both teams. Top, Ozzy looked a lot better than I thought he would. Definitely shows that maybe he is a good replacement for Hanabi. The Kennen is disgusting. Definitely better on carries. Junjia is going to go major region next year. So, obviously as the PSG Talent jungle situation goes, you've got, River gone, Juhan gone, Junjia is going to be gone, and Husha, I guess, gets the job back again. Or they find another PCS jungler to put in his place, and then they also can develop and get, take 1 year vacation in the PCS and then go to a major region, because Junjia is a major region talent. He did have opportunities to go, I believe, to Astralis and TSM this past year and chose not to go to either, and then ended up going to the PCS instead. And you could argue that that was the right decision. He did get to this event. One does have to wonder if TSM, if he had been alongside Maple there, if TSM could have gotten farther, or hell, even made it to this event. I mean, the LCS is not super stacked, so theoretically I could have seen a world where Junjia and Maple just run the show, whereas Boogie and Maple did not, there wasn't as much synergy there. Bot lane, Wako and Woody, 2 older players. I mean, in the end, Junjia and Ozzy topside are the young players. Everyone else is older. Wako and Woody definitely are what they are. I don't expect any improvement out of them. They showcased a good amount of skill, and they didn't embarrass themselves or anything at this event. CFO Flying Oyster, similar to Glory, Jimmy and put on a good performance. Shun, I thought, like Artemis, put on a solid performance. Artemis had higher highs, but really, I think when you look at the entirety of both of their play-ins, both players, put on for their reputations. Jimmy, and though, like I said, similar to Glory, I could see him getting an opportunity in the LCS, LEC. I think he's definitely good enough, and especially at his age, there is even development to be had there. And I doubt in the PCS he gets that development versus going to the West, or hell, even the LPL, a lower tier LPL team. I would argue that he may be better than Ching, Forge, Harder, Dream, Mole. I don't have the LPL mids in front of me, but I probably, if I actually could think of these mediocre at best mid laners, that we could find other spots for him. In terms of topside, Rest, once again, I mean, he had some good performances, and then some you're just kind of like, shit, man. A lot of people think you're better than this. What's going on? Gemini is older. He's probably going to keep playing, and I wouldn't be surprised to see him again next year, only because he just is a very good facilitator, and your average PCS jungler cannot keep up with him. Bot side, like I said, Shun, Shousey, an older player, has been around the block. If they keep him with Shun, I could see, Shun getting better and them coming back next year. We'll see, without Jimmy, and that will be a thing, but, last year they were here with Mission, and they were able to get the job done, so wouldn't shock me. Loud, obviously a lot of Brazilian fans in the comment section the last month here. They get hyped up about their team. You have to respect that, but then at the same time, when you do have criticism, you end up getting into the nitty-gritty where it's like a coin flip on whether the fan can understand that the criticism is warranted, or, they are living off of other creators hyping Loud for money, which, like I said when I said it before, I'll say it again, I'm not, going to blame people for going after the bag. It just kind of, gives, it's kind of taking advantage of fan bases, in my opinion, a bit, because, I don't think, Loud really were more than a coin flip team at this event. Root, I thought Root against Gam, when he came out and he popped Slater and went after Slater, that was like, and I said it, that was a big deal. Now, I did also caveat that by saying Gam are coming off of Asian games and things like that, and it showed the last time they played. But you also have to keep in mind, Root did not play the same way the second time around. And that's a big reason why they lost too. Like, he was no longer that aggressive player. Croc, early game, would find an early kill, but then not do anything else. And all of a sudden, Levi is able to do things for Loud. For Gam against Loud. Tinones, you look at the difference, right, between Maple and Tinones. Two facilitators, older players, leaders on their team. And Maple is doing things actively where Tinones is not. And I say this time and time again the last couple tournaments, because Loud have been the representative, that Tinones needs to make something happen to give Loud a chance. That is the way that he has to play. And if he does not make anything happen and find something, they are going to struggle. He is going to lose lane. Like people even say, he loses lane domestically. Then he's going to certainly lose lane internationally. Robo, coin flip as hell. We saw the Olaf game. That is, every year people want to say, oh, his Renekton, oh, his Olaf. You can't ignore how it looks internationally and say, oh, well, but domestically it does this. Internationally, it does not translate. So it is what it is. Seos probably played better than how I had him. A lot of people want to say he's upper half in this entire event. That I don't think is true. We saw Pallet play excellent. BA play excellent. Woody was solid. Not to say that Seos was worse than Woody. Maybe he's better than Woody. But Woody was solid. Shousey looked like crap at times. Lebrav, obviously, is an LEC support, so he's probably better. Was Seos better than expected? Yeah, but was he upper half when you look at the entire tournament? No, absolutely not. Detonation Focus Me. We saw AP Amen, or Opperman, make a post on Twitter, or someone shared it on Twitter, wherever it was from, and how he was so proud of his showing. And I do think that there is something to be said about that, coming in out of nowhere as a retired top laner to finally get an opportunity at Worlds. And I think the note was to his child, so his child could read it in the future. I do think that there is, a disservice from LLL Esports fans really judging him harshly for his performance, because they really, a lot of people, they don't pay attention to the LJL. Hell, I don't really pay attention to the LJL. So, to just say, oh, well, this guy sucks, he's the reason why they lost. No, DFM lost months ago when they harassed their top laner off of their team, essentially. I mean, I assume that's what happened, because their coach got suspended. Their star Hall of Fame mid laner that they had over their tenure got suspended. They got fined, and they had to bring out random coaches for this event, for the last couple months, play their AD carry, longtime AD carry in top lane, play sub AD carry. Now they're going to pull a top laner literally out of retirement to play at Worlds. Let's be real here. They lost months ago. And it kind of just shows how bad Japan is as a region, that DFM actually still went to this event. And, there were rumors last year that not only Oceania, but Japan were also going to end up in a situation where they're going to join the PCS in a similar way, where, the PCS would have, there'd be Japan and Oceania, and their top seeds would go to the PCS playoffs. They'd all battle for a few spots. I imagine there'd be 3 spots at that point for Worlds, and it didn't end up happening. I think Japan had some investments on some of these teams, and it caused them to keep the region alive. But we also have to acknowledge what's real here, in that DFM were not very good. And I'm not even going to blame top. Arya, I thought, should have been better. Utapon, I mean, they had a bad read on the meta playing Senna bot lane. Nobody's playing Senna bot, so that was kind of weird. I know Senna's being highly, ranked in tier lists and things when it comes to champions, but no one's playing it, so kind of weird to do so. And I mean, I think the DFM dynasty could be done, but at the same time, Japan is not showing the ability to overcome it. Japan is a place where a lot of former LCK players go, and it's almost like a retirement, but they're not. These players are not good enough to go to the LCS. They're not good enough to go to the PCS and things like that, so they end up in Japan. And Harp and Arya, well, Arya still, I guess, is 23, 24 years old. So he still has some time left. But you look at the other teams in the LJL, a lot of older players. It's not like they have 18, 19-year-old Korean imports there. I think Vital was a younger player last year, but he couldn't even get it done, right? And then they have Loken this year, a guy from the LPL and LCK that, couldn't get it done. There are countless Korean imports in Japan. And then lastly, Rainbow 7, Movistar Rainbow 7. Going to this event, they were the last ranked team, so this wasn't a surprise. They beat GAM and MSI. They looked out of place at this one. They lost all 4 of their games. Bong did not stack up. So at this point now, after 2 tournaments, I have to say that Bong is going to be one of those Korean import players that just isn't very good. And we'll see if that changes. He hasn't played organized league, at least when you look at his Game of Legend, very much. When it comes to just trackable stats and things, he's only played for 2 years maybe. Adi, similar to Gemini, I wouldn't be shocked to see Adi again, only because he's really good relative to his region. Myru, I mean, meh. But that's kind of the thing with Latin American Korean imports. We have Keen there. We've had Tempt there. I think a few others as well that just are kind of meh at best. And then bot lane, I think, is something to build on. CEO and Lions have something there, and they're very young, and it was their second international event, and I think they look just like they did the first time, and we'll see if things continue with that. The difference between them and Bong is a few years older. So, I mean, that's the thing. Something to draw from for there. I would say, honestly, if I had to really think about it, in terms of like future prospects and like potential, I would argue Rainbow Seven has more potential with that bot lane than DFM has and Loud has, only because they have young players that we may see again. Where Loud have older players. Will they be there again maybe and still be better than Rainbow Seven next year? Sure, but they're not going to get better. They're kind of are what they are. And then DFM's the same boat. Like their players are what they are. There will not be vast improvement in skill mechanics with experience. So I mean that's kind of my view on these teams after this event. Comment down below with your opinions. Like the video if you like it. Subscribe to the channel for daily League of Legends content. Follow me on Twitter. Join the Discord. Become a YouTube supporter. And I hope to see you again tomorrow.